Hey Dharma Circle, Swati here, the Embodied Dharma coach. If you're in this group, Dharma is probably something that feels important or inspiring to you. And we had a question today in the group that intrigued me. So I thought I would come into the group and say a little bit more about what my definition of Dharma is and why I'm so passionate about an embodied approach to Dharma. And for those of you who want to take your dharmic insight and your embodied dharmic knowing a little bit further, I have something special to offer you at the end of our chat. So I don't know if you know my background, but I'll give you a brief reminder if you aren't familiar. I was raised with Vedic knowledge. I was raised with a guru, and this shaped my journey. There's no way that it hasn't shaped my journey and my experience of life. And so at a very young age, I was contemplating things like, what is the purpose of my life? And it was the nagging question that really intensified as I got older. And because I didn't feel like I had the answers I needed, I really struggled. I suffered a lot. And there were a lot of reasons for that. Certainly grief and trauma were a part of my journey and have been part of what's shaped me. But the question of why am I here and what my purpose is, how can I feel like life has meaning, has been the driving force in my life. And I haven't stopped. That became the thing that compelled me to go deeper and deeper into my body, to trust my own body and my own body wisdom. Because I was raised with a lot of Vedic resources and tools and meditation, an amazing meditation technique, and a lot of insight and depth about nature and natural law as it relates to the Vedas. It truly enhanced my journey. However, it also disconnected me from my body in some ways. In other words, looking outside of the self for answers rather than skillfully trusting, aligning, and honoring with what I know to be true in my own body, which is why I teach Dharma the way that I do, because without the embodied knowing and the trust in your own body wisdom, you'll never be nourished. So yes, the definition of Dharma is technically duty and the duty of one's soul. That can look very different for every individual soul. And so the driving question for me is always, first of all, what seeds are we planting? And how are we supporting the growth of these seeds? And ultimately, what feels true and aligned for you in your own body? I don't really care what anyone else believes or thinks or tells me truth is. I have to run it through the filter of my own body wisdom. And if it rings true on multiple levels of my own inner knowing, then I call it my truth. That comes from a certain level of skillfulness with my own body and a certain trust in my own body wisdom. That's what I hope for each one of you. That's what I teach. That's what I inspire women to do in their own journeys, on their own path, their own paths. And ultimately, that's what Dharma is. My definition of Dharma is wholeness, meaning an integration of all your parts and pieces and offering from that place of wholeness. That can only come from integrating all of your parts and pieces, shadow and light, transforming your darkness into light. That means we must face our shadow and be willing to transform it into something else. That's the dharmic path. And we see that time and time and time again reiterated in the Ved and the Vedic literature. So that's not something I'm creating. That's something we see in across the board of Vedic knowledge. Transforming darkness into light. That's a very central theme of Vedic literature. And so how do we do that skillfully in our own lives, in our own bodies, and throughout our grief and trauma journey in order to move towards something very different? So my question several years ago became less about how to do trauma work and heal, and what is actually on the other side of trauma and grief work. What is on the other side of doing all this inner work? Well, my answer is joy. My answer is nourishment. And in fact, my Dharma is literally supporting others in moving towards the nourishment. So this has become a big part of my definition of Dharma and what inspires me to show up for all of you and the women that I walk with in my mentorship work, moving towards nourishment. This is my Dharma, and so in order for me to be in right relationship with Dharma, my own path and purpose, it's about aligning with nourishment, moving towards that which feels good. That includes joy, pleasure, passion, the things that inspire and bring light and love and joy into this world. Now, I recognize that's not everybody's definition of Dharma, and I don't want to imply that this is right for everybody. Dharma looks very different for every individual soul. But in order for me to honor my Dharma and be truthful with myself and what my body knows to be true, Dharma, the definition of Dharma that I use is about wholeness, integrating all of our parts and pieces, as well as navigating that balance between the material and the spiritual realms. We are householders. That's what we're here to do. It's not one or the other. And so how do we skillfully navigate the spiritual and the material world, while also moving towards our wholeness, our nourishment, and joy? That's a question I'm going to leave there. I invite you to contemplate, and I would love to hear more from you. What is your definition of Dharma? What feels right for you, for your soul, for your path? What do you know to be true? That is really the most important thing. What is your embodied knowing? What is true for you as a result of the challenges you've overcome, the initiations you've been through, the great hurdles, the grief, the trauma that you've healed? What is true for you? What inspires your knowing? What is embodied within your being? And ultimately, your unshakable truth. What you know to be true in your own being, in your own soul, in your own body. That's what I'm curious about. And ultimately, that's what your Dharma is. And for those of you who are curious about deepening that understanding and going into the deeper layers of what that means for you, what your why is, what inspires you, your gifts, your wisdom, your tools, what shaped you from your ancestors, and what you're here to actually embody and express and share in this world, and how to create a sustainable business model around that, I want to invite you to join us for the Dharma Challenge. This is a 2-week seed planting process. We've already started. It's actually day 2 already. People are sharing their inspiring journeys and their growth, their wisdom. And it always just inspires me so much to witness the women who walk this 14-day journey and to hear their amazing stories. and to witness their harvest at the end of the process. And I want to invite you to join us for that. It's really a unique opportunity to strengthen your dharmic path and your understanding of what Dharma is for you and what Dharma is for your body. And if you are needing this information now, if these resources feel timely for you and you want to jump in, I will let you join us still. I can fit in a couple more women to this process, and I want to give you a little incentive if you're on the fence. So put your hand up below if you want to join us, and I'll make sure that you get in at 50% off, and I'll give you a code for that. So do put your hand up below if it feels like the 14-day Dharma challenge is something that you need right now and would support you in your on your path and on your dharmic journey right now. Then please put your hand up and I will make sure it happens for you. This 14-day challenge is for those who want to go deeper into their understanding of path and purpose, their big why. Why are you here? And what your offering is as a result. So if you are figuring out how to do both the spiritual and the material, or create an offering that feels truly good to you, inspiring, joyful, nourishing, then this 14-day seed planting journey is for you. And I want to make sure that you get a chance to join us. So put your hand up below, and I'll share a link above this video for more information. And don't forget to ask for more details, and I'll make sure you get that 50% off. I will close the doors tomorrow because we have already started. That means you'd be missing out on too much. So please step in, join us now, and I'll continue to share dharmic insights and wisdom with you. This is my purpose. There's no way I can stop this purpose of my soul, and I will continue to share in ways that feel meaningful to me. And ultimately, my intention is to support you in moving towards your own nourishment and the nourishment of your body and your soul. I'll see you soon. Hopefully you will join us in the 14-day challenge. And if not, I will see you soon here in the group. Bye, everyone.